Have you ever been working on something like a project and then someone comes along and tries to help you, but the problem is that someone doesn't know what they're doing, and instead of helping you, they completely mess up everything? Has it ever happened to you? Well, it's happened to me. See, there was this one time when I was in the kitchen hooking up a tasty meal for my husband and for my kids. And for some strange reason, when I stepped out of the kitchen, my husband stepped in and decided that he needed to help me out. And he got in there and started adding seasonings and other things that I never planned to add to this dish. And in his attempt to take my dish to the next level, as he says, he took my dish in a direction that I never wanted it to go, and in essence ruined the meal that I had in mind for my family that evening. Now, the meal was edible, but it wasn't as good as the one that I intended to make for them. Furthermore, I didn't ask for his help, nor did I need his help, which gives me a clear picture of how God must feel when he's cooking up something special for us. But in the middle of the process, we step in and try to help God out and only wind up ruining the plans that he's been preparing for us. So in today's episode, we're going to discuss the fact that God doesn't need our help. So I get it. You're tired of waiting and wondering how and when is God going to show up and work out a particular situation in your life. And you're anxious and you're on the verge of just jumping into the spiritual kitchen and working out things for yourself. I mean, besides, you know how to cook and you know what tastes good. So why not go into the spiritual kitchen, work things out for yourself? Now I'm here to tell you today that you can't do it. Don't do it for two reasons. Number one, when you make the choice to help God out with something that he never asked you to help him out with, it's a reflection of your lack of faith, meaning you don't trust him. And number two, if you do, you're only going to mess things up. Now, let me remind you or even introduce you to Sarah's mistake. In the book of Exodus, the Bible tells us the story of Sarah and Abraham, two older individuals who God had promised to make a mighty nation from. The problem is, despite all their efforts, Sarah and Abraham have not been able to conceive a child. And truth is, Sarah's getting a little anxious, and she decides that God, the one who has made heaven and earth, the one who created her and Abraham, and the one whose words will never return unto him void, that God needs her help. And because she couldn't figure out how God was going to bless her with a son of her own, she came up with the bright idea that her husband, get this, should take her handmaid and sleep with her and get her pregnant, and then she would consider that child her own. What kind of mess is that? Sarah's lack of faith didn't allow her to think this thing through, and it caused her to make a foolish decision because she didn't consider the consequences that would result from her trying to help God out. She never considered the fact that her handmaiden Hagar would start feeling herself when she became the mother of Abraham's firstborn. She didn't consider the fact that the dynamics of their relationships would change. She didn't have the foresight to see that one day she would be all up in Abraham's face saying, I don't care where they got to go, but they got to get up out of here. Now, she didn't think about these things, which is why God never asked for her help. You see, when God presented his plan to Abraham, it never included Hagar, jealousy, anger, strife, hurt, or pain. Because that's not how God operates. So the next time you feel yourself feeling anxious because God's promises for your life seem to be a little delayed, just remember Sarah. And remember that God doesn't need your help. Thanks for watching. I hope it encouraged you. And please like, share, and subscribe. And be sure to hit that notification bell so that you won't miss another episode. God bless.